So this week I'm going to just continue with some of my thoughts and some of Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings, and next week we will go into the practices that he offers for strengthening our conscious relationship with sexuality. So when I was reading, whenever I read this training, it always brings forward ways in which I have suffered because of what could be called sexual misconduct. And in my process of considering this training, I feel like I'm called to continue to heal and integrate aspects of my past. With a Christian upbringing, I was raised with similar values, but from the context of being a moral human in the eyes of a judging God and a community, a rather judging community, rather than from the perspective of learning to prevent suffering. And through the causes of suffering and the painful results from what would be termed sinful acts may be the same, I feel that there is a distinct difference between being shamed into avoiding what is considered wrong and being educated to live in a way which minimizes suffering. And one of my realizations was that events that are termed as shameful generate a fear of being rejected by one's community. And this can silence both parties, preventing us from admitting that we have caused suffering or that we are suffering, and making the path of reconciliation and healing difficult to find. And raised with shame, I know the irresistible urge, I really experienced this, to turn on anyone who has caused me to feel shameful and use shaming as a tool of revenge to inflict ongoing suffering back on them. And I also found that when I was struggling with some major issues, that a lot of people around me had the same urge to use shaming. And so this has been part of my journey. And coming of age in the 60s in the US during the blossoming of free love and women's liberation movement, my generation definitely challenged the ethics my parents upheld. And I feel like we were striving to make sexuality conscious in order to understand it and establish choices in our sexual expression. But we also engendered suffering along this path of change. And I share this background because to authentically consider the third training requires a mindful awareness of where we are coming from and what we have participated in, and how we would like to refine our conscious intentions through our mindfulness practice. And I don't think that any part of our lives should be pushed away and out of our awareness in order to embrace the third mindfulness training. I feel that we're being called to bring greater awareness to our experiences in light of the Dharma and with the support of the sangha. And it's important to use our meditation practice to gain insight into the roots that have caused suffering, the roots of what has caused suffering in our lives. And I think this meditating and understanding the roots of what caused suffering and being able to learn new skills in talking about our relationships is key. And so with that said, I will now turn directly to Thich Nhat Hanh's teachings. And he says that sex is an instinct of preservation and it can feel very pleasurable, but we shouldn't confuse it with love. Every living being wants to continue into the future, plants, animals, and humans. Everyone has sexual energy, and sexual energy in itself is wholesome. Only when it leads to activities that cause suffering does it become unwholesome. When we are able to develop a deep and committed relationship with someone before we entrust our bodies to them, then sexual love becomes something very sacred. And living outside of monastic life, we are constantly exposed to messages from advertising and media sources encouraging the expression of sexual energy. There's a great deal of sex to be found in the world, he says, but not much love. The focus on sexuality is so pervasive that reading the Third Mindfulness Training is not enough. To avoid causing harm, we must commit to learning ways of taking care of our sexual energy, ways of caring for our bodies and our minds, and the bodies and the minds of others with respect. And to do this, we can use our practice to increase our capacity for loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity, or inclusiveness, as Thich Nhat Hanh preferred to name the fourth aspect of true love. And he says that these four elements of true love increase our happiness and the happiness of others. It is possible for us to cultivate these four elements of true love through the practices of releasing, being mindful, being concentrated, and looking deeply to receive the insight that we need. He says that spending time each day with each of these practices of releasing, being mindful, being concentrated, and looking deeply to receive the insight we need helps us handle the suffering inside and transform it into peace and joy. We are meant to practice love for ourselves first. When we succeed at loving ourselves, loving another person becomes something very natural. Our presence in the world becomes very important because our presence is the presence of love. He says, love at the base is deep friendship. And to be a friend means to offer happiness.